not like you. I know I was never what you wanted. But after all this, I thought maybe things were different.
You do not know everything, boy.
No. But at least I know the truth now.
The truth. The truth. I am a god, boy. From another land far from here. When I came to these shores, I chose to live as a man. But the truth is, I was born a god. And so were you. Boy, have you nothing to say?
Can I turn into an animal?
Can you turn into an animal? No. No, I do not think so.
I'm a god. Mother knew? She was a god too?
No. She was mortal, but she knew my true nature.
I'm a god. Why did you wait so long to tell me?
I had hoped to spare you. Being a god, it can be a lifetime of anguish and tragedy. That is the curse.
What sorts of things can I do? Can I fly? Or turn invisible? I don't feel like a god.
I do not know the reach of your godhood. But over time, we will learn.
Good morning, boys and girls of the internet. Today is Thursday, October 18th, 2018. Vlog number 291. God, I gotta get caught up with all this, because as of now, I'm still like 2 weeks, 3 weeks behind on my vlogs. So I don't even have that many uploaded. I plan on, once I get a lot of the major ones that are taking longer to edit, you know, get those, once I get those up, the rest I'll be able to upload multiple ones per day and catch up, hopefully. Now that some house cleaning is done, I was thinking about this earlier today, because, you know, it's just people talking about stuff. I saw something about some like Atari like clone console or something that one company's putting out. They do it all the time. They came out with several different like clone consoles. Pretty much just a little box that you just plug into your TV and you can like play a couple of Atari games or, you know, shit like that. Play some Pac-Man. But all these things with these little like mini consoles coming out now, started with like the NES Mini like 2 years ago. And then, you know, they had the SNES Mini last year. Now, this year, they're going to come out with the PlayStation Mini, you know, Sony is. And even Sega, they're coming out with their own official mini Genesis system, which is funny because other companies have made mini Genesis systems several times before in the past, and they've all been kind of shitty too. You can tell they're like probably some Chinese bootleg system that just kind of repackaged for America, because yeah, they would have like some built-in Genesis games, but they would have like 50 other like shitty like no-name games that like some, you know, like kid programmer kind of slapped together, probably like super crappy games, like rip-offs of like Flappy Bird and shit. but Sega, they're finally coming out with their own officially branded, Genesis clone. And the thing I hate about these things, and the reason why I don't want them and I don't like them, is that they're very limited in scope. If you ask me, they're kind of half-assed. Because if you really, really wanted to, if Sega wanted to, if Sony wanted to, if Nintendo wanted to, they have this catalog of games that everybody loves. And people buy over and over again. I mean, hell, I probably bought at least 2 like Sega Genesis collections over the years for I think they came out with one on PS2 and one on PS3, and I bought them both, and they had different things on them. I love Genesis games, so and I'm kind of against rebuying games, but I've done it before, so I'm not like super against it. But with these like mini consoles, again, they're limited in scope because they have only a few select games that they select, which they think that everybody wants. And sure, there's a lot of really good ones on these consoles. Like the PS1 version, they didn't say which games are going to be on it, but I'm pretty sure all the major good ones that they can get, that they have the licensing for, can be thrown on it. Of course, all the Sony first-party games and stuff, that's a given. But are you gonna have like Metal Gear on there? Are you gonna have Final Fantasy 7? Those are 2 big games, but are they really gonna allow? Konami and Square Enix gonna allow you to do that? Maybe, I don't know. But again, in terms of limited scope, little devices that have online connectivity that can hit the web up, those are really small and inexpensive now. You can easily, and I said this back when the NES Mini came out, you can easily stuff a little tiny Wi-Fi card into your box and have the little OS that runs these emulated games, that are obviously emulated, be able to access some kind of custom-made web store that's only for that system, and allow people to buy and download more games. How awesome would that be? I would have bought the NES Mini in a heartbeat. When that thing came out, it was $60 if it was for 30 games. But if it came out for $100 and it had like 30 games already in it, but allowed you to connect to a little like Nintendo eShop that allowed you to buy any other game that you want in their library and download them to this little system, I would have fucking bought it for $100. Hell yes. Same thing with the Super Nintendo version. Same thing with the Genesis. If they come out with one that has a little, online store to buy all kinds of awesome Genesis games that they decide not to put on it, but is in their store, that'd be awesome. PS1. I mean, it's not like these games are huge. Yeah, the PS1, those games can get a little bit bigger because they were on CD, and 700 megabytes per CD. That's a little big, not too big. I mean, 700 megabytes, you can easily get like 128 gigabyte memory card and a little SD card and throw it in there. Even if the thing has like expandable storage, throw in a little micro SD, and let's see, 128 gigs divided by 700 megabytes. That's usually like what, 1,000 games? Maybe you can put on that thing. No, 100 games. More than 100. 150. My math is bad. It's early in the morning. Leave me alone. But that'd be pretty awesome if you ask me. Now, an other thing that, why aren't these companies, other than the few handful of companies like Square Enix that does it, why aren't they releasing games on phones, on like the the Google Play Store and the Apple Store? If Nintendo was smart, you should be able to buy, download and play any Mario game through an Android phone and just play it through their own custom emulated software with, controls that work, that are not janky, because there's plenty of emulators on the stores. But if Nintendo came out with their own official emulator for phones and tablets and shit, I don't think a lot of people would complain. People would buy into it. And how much resources, did you have to put into that? Not very many. Not very much resources. If people can come out there and put out these emulators for free on their own time, I think Nintendo can be like, hey, you over there, in the corner, working on some weird, coding. Got a project for you. Code me up an emulator, and make it for the Google Play Store and Apple Store. It doesn't take a lot of time and effort. And just make sure it works with their ROMs. And of course, they have to do copy protection and shit, because that's one thing they would be concerned about, which is understandable. And Sega's done that as well. What's dumb though, they've actually did come out with a couple of games on phones, like some of their classic games. But for some reason they play a little janky. I don't know what is with them. Not only that, they're very heavily ad supported, which is ridiculous. I'm sure if you I think they came out with a couple of games for free, and it was ad supported. I think that's what it was. I forget. But yeah, I think that the Sega Genesis mini console coming out, I think it's not going to come out to next year or something. I haven't heard much of it. I only remembered it because there was another company. There's a lot of companies that came out with their own versions. There's one company, I forget the name, that they come out with kind of high-end versions of these mini consoles. I remember they came out with this NES console that you could actually plug cartridges into, old original NES cartridges, and it was pretty much a reproduction of the old NES, but it was a really nice case on it, and it was all silver and a machined aluminum, and it was really expensive. It was $400 or something like that, or $1,000, I forget. But hey, speaking of Genesis and stuff like that, Sega, where's our if you're gonna come out with a mini Genesis, are you gonna come out with a mini Saturn as well? I know Saturn didn't get that much love as PlayStation, but a lot of people still have fond memories of the Saturn. And maybe you can drum up some much needed support for some old franchises, and people will request newer versions of some of these franchises. Just a thought. But yeah, I know my friend. Excuse me. My friend, he's gonna get the PS1 Mini. I still have my PlayStation 1. It's still sitting on my TV. And I can plug it in and it works. And I have all my games right there. So if I really, really wanted to play PS1 games, and not only that, my PS3 can play PS1 games. I've played many PS1 games on my PS3. It's backwards compatible. It works fine. Now, Sony, they have done well, good in that if you want, you can buy and download it, PS1 and PS2 games, onto the PS4. And that's good. At least they have that. And I think through their PlayStation Now, their little streaming service, you can actually play PS3 games, you don't download them, you just like stream them off their servers. You can play that through your PS4 as well if you have good enough internet connection. But at least they have it right where you can almost buy just about any old PS1 game that you could think about. There's a lot of them missing, yeah, but the ones that are missing are very few and far between, and they're very obscure. But yeah, you can get almost any PS1 game on, PS3 and PS4. Just download it. Nintendo had a right idea, years ago on the Wii. The Wii had their eShop, and you can play old, get old games. But the Wii Shop is now gone. Like you'd think with their Switch, that'd be the perfect platform to play old school games on. Now, granted, the Switch is really limited in terms of expandability. Like it only has 32 gigs of internal memory, and you have to expand it your own. But still, you're walking around with a portable, like, oh, I want to play Super Mario Bros. 3, yay! Or I want to play Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 6, whatever. And just be able to, download them and play them? Hell yeah. But no, you can't, because Nintendo doesn't have an eShop anymore for that kind of thing. They used to have it on didn't they used to have it on their DS as well? You can play, like, there's a couple of NES games and the Super Nintendo games you can get on their DS. I don't remember. I never owned a DS, so I don't know. The last Nintendo handheld I had was a Game Boy Advance SP. And I love that thing. That thing was amazing. Because it was, nice little foldable clamshell that was really small and felt like a good handheld. I didn't mind, carrying around for some awesome games. And it was pretty much a Super Nintendo in terms of its power. It had a little more power than Super Nintendo, I think. But it had some old games that, were very... I think they had some Super Nintendo ports. But what I really loved it for was the Castlevania games that came out for it. Those Castlevania games on Game Boy Advance were awesome. Very Symphony of the Night-esque. And speaking of ports and Symphony of the Night, they're re-releasing that game very soon, like right before Halloween. I think like next week. And I know they're going to come out with it with Rondo of Blood, which is an unreleased Castlevania game that came out in Japan. They never came out with it to America, so they're going to come out with that. So it's going to be a bundle. That's going to be exciting because Symphony of the Night still, if I were to compile a list of top 10 games, that would be in my top 10. For sure. What number it would be, I don't know, because I don't really have a list of top 10 games. But that would be definitely in there and up to towards the top. However, I need to do some research on that re-release coming out with. Is it going to be the original dub, or are they going to give you the option for the Japanese language option? Because that'll be awesome, because we never had that option in the original. We never had like language track options. A lot of games nowadays do, and because God, I hated the American version of Symphony of the Night because the dubbing in that was horrendous. And a lot of people, like it because it was, kitschy and endlessly quotable. Die, monster! You do not belong among the living. What is a man? A miserable pile of secrets or some shit. I don't fucking know. My version of that game is the import version. I played it in Japanese. And the voice acting in that game was amazing. A lot of very recognizable characters, voice actors, I should say. Dracula was played by the same voice who plays Perfect Cell in the Japanese Dragon Ball Z, which is awesome. His voice is amazing for Dracula. He has that perfect, villain tone. I'm not going to even pretend to try to mimic it right now, but I just know that he was amazing. But if they give us a voice option, that'd be amazing. I'm going to go research it because I'm curious. If it doesn't have it, I'll be disappointed, but I might still get it anyways. What they really need to do, because as much as I love Symphony of the Night and the old school sprites and stuff, I would love if they like sat down and redrew that game in HD. It would be a huge task. Don't get me wrong, I would not envy them if they like remake that game from scratch, because not only if you're making a game from scratch with HD sprites, you run the risk of like breaking how the original game played in terms of like hitboxes of stuff and little minute things like that. But I think it would just be beautiful if they were to do it, if they could do it. I mean, that'd be an undertaking. I would definitely pay good money to have that, but we're not going to get that pro ever. So, oh well. I think I rambled on enough about old school games. So I'll talk to y'all later. Everybody have a good day. I love you.